Yo, we got when the Isekai protagonist was a villain. Now, if you guys don't know, this is about Arthur Leywin from the beginning after the end. I'm not gonna lie. I'm probably not gonna have too much to say about this, so it's probably gonna be like a shorter video and more of me reacting to this one. But, well, not but that's only because I ain't gonna lie, I ain't read tbate. I'm not gonna lie, I ain't read the manga in a couple years. And I heard the light novel was really good. It's just maybe I'm just a dumbass little kid. Oh my, that's how my brain works. But if there ain't no pictures in that bitch, I can't. I don't feel like reading it. Um, but yeah, bro, I ain't read it in a couple years, and it's not like some crazy reason why, like I hated it or anything like that. It's simply because I ain't gonna lie, I was reading a lot of mangas, and I don't know why that one just got pushed to the back of my brain. But I was waiting for the anime to come out, and when I seen how it was looking and people was talking about it, and that shit was looking like some poo. And I was like, come on, man, y'all can't. Everybody was like, you can't mess up a great story like this. And I'm like, damn. Because when I was reading, bro. That shit was hard. It's just like, it literally just got pushed to the back of my mind. Because I was doing a bunch of shit and then I was reading other stuff too. I don't know why that one specifically got pushed to the back of my mind, but happens. But we going to watch this video by Michael? I said McCall. Let's get into it.
Is about redemption. A do-over, a second. Every isekai at its core is about redemption. A do-over, a second chance at life.
Facts.
Uses this to explore characters finally living for themselves, but one series does something completely different. The Beginning After the End's protagonist, Arthur, is not an ordinary isekai protagonist. Because
He's definitely not. He was wild in past life.
He used to be. Most isekai protagonists are
you see, this nigga was wild back in his past life.
Their life kind of sucked before they got into this new fantasy world where they're going to go on this amazing power fantasy. Arthur, on the other hand, was actually very successful, as he was a king in his past life. Now, Gray only cares
I mean, the kings in this thing, from what I remember, they were mostly like, what's the word for it? Kind of like, can I say figureheads? Because, yeah, I could say figureheads because I'm kind of trying to think of a good example. I don't know if anybody ever seen the show The Last Kingdom. But when the Vikings took over and they forgot one of the kings surrendered, and he was basically a figurehead for the Vikings. But yeah, I guess you could say he was a figurehead, but they settled their things differently in this world. Cause I think like it was like 1v1 battles between kings in order to get the kingdom up, get more land and shit. Which is like crazy part about it is how people say the fucking government and shit should settle the shit now. With a 1v1 between the president and whatever other leader.
One thing really, and that was power. And he was willing to do anything to get that power and then keep that power. Doing such things like bombing entire cities and aura farming to
I don't remember that. Oh my god.
No one. And overall,
oh my god.
Cruel person. Now, we can give him some leeway here because he was an orphan in his past life, and as we learn more information about his past world, which was a very futuristic and dystopian society, and as an orphan from this world, he was actually brought up to be the king. Being the king is more just a title more than anything in this world.
Okay.
They're just basically a killing machine for the government, and you have to be strong to be the king because constantly other people are trying to kill you so they can be the next king.
Man, he was definitely the strongest because I don't think not one nigga could take him down. They had the poison, bro. If you didn't know, I'm spoiler, sorry.
So he never really had the chance to learn what love was and develop empathy, really. So when he, not shockingly, gets poisoned and isekai'd into this new world, that mentality kind of sticks around for a while. He's cold, he's calculating as a baby. Again, really only focusing on gaining power. But luckily, he was born into a very loving family. So over the years, he starts to really understand what it means to be loved and starts to understand what it means to love people back. And he really does start to develop empathy. Now,
Oh wow,
typically,
I didn't even
that would
think
be
about
that. In
this
most
deep.
of these isekai redemption stories, it would be that quick. It would be like, oh, he was a bad guy in his previous life, but thanks to a loving home now, he's a very
Or
good.
just think to him wanting to live different, he just turned good all of a sudden. Sometimes I be hating them shit like that because like sometimes like come on, there's no way you was evil for like 400 years and then, like that you're a saint. Come on, man.
Person, and now he's gonna go save the world because he needs to protect the things that he now cares about. Nah, not really. That's not really where this story goes. Instead, now he's just a bad person with something to lose, and he's willing to do anything to make sure that never happens. And that's what makes him
Mm.
dangerous. Which, honestly, I kind of like. That does make a lot of sense to
Now that
me.
is kind of I didn't even think about it like that because now that he played that clip, I do remember. I'm sorry, it's another spoiler. When the king was trying to take his what's her name, Sylvie, the dragon, right? I'm sorry, it's been a minute. If that's wrong, my bad. It's either Sylvia or Sylvia. Is it? Well, whatever. He was he like he like bro. He threatened the king and shit. Like not threatened him, but like what did he do? I forgot. It was like what they call it, killing intent. He just showed like a crazy amount of that, and the fucking king felt it in the whole other room. This shit was crazy.
Big issue with isekai is that these characters come to this new world and their old personalities just kind of disappear. And so far,
Yeah,
the
you
series
see,
has done a
that's what I
great
was
job of
saying.
showing that even though he's Arthur now, King Gray is still in there. This
Hmm.
is not the Disney Channel. This guy was a warlord. He killed people without any mercy, and that is still sticking around. It doesn't
I
matter
like
now that
that.
he has a mommy and daddy who love him. He still only cared about power. It's just now he was going to use that power to protect his family.
Hmm.
But something interesting happens that completely changes his redemption arc. While his family
Yep.
is moving to a new city, they actually get attacked, and it actually causes Arthur to get separated from his family. It's during this time that he's separated from his family that he learns two very important lessons from two mentors. The first one being Sylvia, who, despite
Yep.
her terrifying appearance, teaches him that when you fight with rage and hate,
Damn, why she look so different in that shit? I don't remember that. I don't remember being like a white dragon.
it only fuels violence that will destroy everything in his path, and all that will remain is hate. I do think out of the two mentors, this was probably the most important lesson for him to
Facts.
learn, simply due to the fact that this guy's mentality was killing enemies is what people do. Killing is just a normal Saturday afternoon for me. But this
Exactly.
philosophy does get Arthur thinking. Yes, he wants to protect his family, but he doesn't need to be a monster to do it. If he goes down the same path that he did in his previous life, it will lead to him making the same mistakes, so he needs to show some sort of restraint with his new abilities. And that's where his second mentor, Varian, comes in. Because Arthur is a bit worried. Like every other Isekai protagonist, he has an immense power, and he's scared that this immense power might lead to him doing something that King Gray would have done. So, Varian kind of helps him deal with the pressure and responsibilities that come with this power. And it actually adds stakes to the story. Yes, he's learned these lessons, but now he actually has to apply them. Because now he knows that if he doesn't, he more than likely will lose his family. And this
Damn, yo, this nigga cooking. Yo, it's crazy how deep he's going to. I didn't even think about this at first, but this nigga's really opening my eyes. Cause like, yo, 'cause I don't know why, but him talking about this shit, this is about to be another spoiler. But if I'm not wrong, I think when he eventually spoilers coming right now. When he eventually goes to the academy and talks to the headmaster, the headmaster's familiar warned her, said, "Do not make enemies with him." And she's basically, "Oh, that's a dragon next to him, not a whatever." And he was like, "That kid has the power to either destroy this world or some shit." I forgot what other part they said, but that shit was like, that shit had me like, this nigga's hard.
life that he loves. Another very important thing that these mentors show him is kindness, which at this stage in Arthur's redemption arc is actually very important.
Because he
At
never
this
got
point,
showed any of
he's
that last
really
year.
only
I mean,
really
it's a past
caring
life.
about two people: his mom and his dad. Everybody else is just kind of there. Him being separated from them gives him the opportunity to make more connections. I think the most wholesome and probably my favorite relationship that he forms is with Tess, because it allows him to be an actual kid.
I
Something
forgot
that he
about
didn't have
Tess.
an opportunity to be in his previous life, as he was constantly taking tests and fighting to become king. And
Facts.
thanks
Like,
to
look at
these
his face
connections,
in
he
that.
starts to lower his guard more. He starts to become more relaxed in this world. And because of this kindness and his
It's crazy because usually I'm sorry I keep pausing so much, but like I ain't gonna lie, I like the app. But usually in these type of shits, in these type of stories, isekai, when people get reincarnated as a kid, they like hate it. They hate. They be like, oh my god, they fake with like they like not fake, but what I'm trying to say, like they hate having to live as a kid again. But like, bro, it's so kind of like refreshing in this shit, to where we can really see that he's actually enjoying being a kid because he never got that. That nigga was basically a dope. He was basically a robot his whole life, essentially, and just the only thing he knew was kill, power. It's crazy.
Fear that he might become his old self again, he actually starts to neglect his power. Unlike other isekai protagonists who just have an overpowered ability off the bat, he actually has to kind of train his power. And thanks to him being from another world where he was extremely good at murder, he's able to train and pick up things very quickly. And at the beginning of the series, he was very adamant to get power for himself and then later to protect his family, but now he really doesn't want
Facts.
to. He
Yo,
does see that
I
there
thought
is
she had a
more
Glock
to
in her
life
hand.
than
Oh
just
wow.
power now. And I find that really interesting because I do wonder if he's doing it more subconsciously, if anything, because of his fear. Him being scared that his power will corrupt him and revert him back to his old self creates this really interesting dynamic that really got me wondering, is he doing this subconsciously? Is he refusing to train and mold his ability because he's scared that he'll become King Gray again? Or is he actively making this choice not to become more powerful because he doesn't care anymore? Because even though he's trying really hard not to go back to his old ways, he does slip up a couple of times. There are a couple of
Yeah, this is what I was talking. Yo, damn, yo, Turtle Me really cooked with this shit. I didn't even think about this shit. Hold on, man. Shout out to the author, bro. He's cooking with this shit. I heard it only gets better and better from there on, too.
where he kind of loses control of his anger just a little bit, and his bloodlust comes out
Not bad.
and it completely paralyzes a bunch of people. But we all have those kind of days. So it's not
Yeah.
like his fear isn't
Well, I don't know about that.
justified. We are shown very clear examples that he could easily become King Gray again. He really starts to question himself. Is he somebody that deserves redemption? Is he somebody that can be loved? And all of this made me question it. It made me start to question, is he actually gaining redemption, or is he just learning how to kind of behave? There's a fundamental difference of knowing what's right from wrong and choosing to do good because it's the right thing to do versus doing good because it's the opposite of what you would have done. I could argue that Arthur necessarily
That is a good fact. That is a good point. Because because I do notice that in a lot of manhwas, when the villain or the person who was like evil in their past life and they want to be good now, they be like, oh, yeah, before I would have just killed him, but I guess now I'm not that person anymore. So I guess now I'll just give them it. Like you get what I mean? Trying to say, like, bro, what's this dude's name again? Mello. You cooking?
good person because of that, but I don't think he's necessarily a bad person either. By the end of the series, he becomes an adventurer to train, not to gain more power, but to gain more control over his ability, to test out his abilities in actual dangerous situations, so that way he knows when he needs to restrain himself. Plus, he sees how much he's changed away from his parents. A part of me feels like it's a subconscious choice, a test that he's giving himself to see if he can remain a good person far away from his friends and family. But more realistically, it probably is just due to the fact that he wants to go out into the world and gain more experience. Plus, he is an old-ass man stuck in a child's body, so it would make sense that he wants some independence. This is what surprised me the most about the series, the fact that it was willing to get this in depth and explore the theme of redemption, and using the most common isekai tropes to actually add weight to the story. I did find it refreshing to see that everybody in the story is like, yeah, you're a prodigy, you could go to this really cool magical school and become super powerful, and the main character knows that they're super powerful, but they just don't want to necessarily, that they're hesitant because they're scared of their past life bleeding into this new one. I personally haven't seen a series do something like this before.
Me either.
I'm sure that another isekai has probably.
Me too. It's pretty sure another story done this, but me personally, I haven't seen another man want to do this either. When the person is like kind of like not so much of a good person in his past life yet. Usually, it's the simple thing what he was talking about before, or oh, I didn't do this in my past life. Oh, I would have beheaded him in my past life, but I'm not. I don't want to do that anymore.
Really done it because this is the isekai genre. There are no such things as original ideas. which has kind of hurt this series in a very weird way. As I was doing research on this series, I found that a lot of people hate this series because they feel like it's just a carbon copy of Jobless Reincarnation, which I do
Hell no.
understand. There were some moments where I was like, that's a Jobless Reincarnation scene. That's kind of strange. But as the series went on, the similarities disappeared. I could see the inspiration that Jobless gave this series, but it's not a
Which
carbon
came out
copy,
first? I
in
don't
my
remember.
opinion, and especially when it comes to the characters and their redemption.
See, I know people have a lot of good things to say about Jobless, but me personally, I'm sorry. I know people say it's changing redemption, whatever, but the main character, he just rubs me the wrong way, bro. There's nothing about it. Like, there's nothing more. I can't watch this. I just can't. Cause like it's that and the fact that when he's thinking of these like some of this the weird shit he wants to do, it's the old nigga voice. Ugh, I can't. His past life voice. I can't. I'm sorry.
Rudius is a very flawed, and I mean extremely flawed and bad person
Yes.
who understands that his life was terrible, and now with this second chance, he wants to make his second life a better one. Whereas Arthur really didn't know what a good life was. His entire
At
life
all.
was about power, killing, doing whatever it takes to hold on to the power that he had. Seeing him slowly lower his guard and realize that he was a bad person and realize that, his world kind of sucked. And now he has a really good life, and he can easily screw it up if he starts acting like his old self. Both series do redemption very well, in my opinion. They just do it slightly differently, which is why it kind of saddens me that while I was also doing research, that it seems that a lot of people drop the anime, and not because
I didn't even
the
watch it
story
yet.
was bad or because Arthur was a bad protagonist, but rather the animation. It seems that a lot of people are upset that the fight scenes are just slideshows. Do I think the animation could be better? Yes. Do I think it takes away from the anime? No, not really. Me personally, what I kind of care about with anime and stuff like that is the story and the characters. Especially with Isekai, I don't really like one-dimensional Isekai protagonists.
Me either. I hate that shit. It's just so boring. Sometimes it could be a little fun. Like some of them could be like I guess funny, but then it's
because most Isekai protagonists are one-dimensional, and the beginning after the end doesn't have a one-dimensional protagonist. I think Arthur's story really carries the anime as a whole, and so I don't really mind when the fight scenes aren't that action-packed, because kind of ironically, the story is not about the action. It's about his growth as a character and not wanting to be violent.
I know I'm pausing a lot. There's only 1 minute left, but yo, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna keep it a bean. This shit completely changed the way I'm thinking about this shit now. I don't usually be swayed this easily with certain shit, but yo, it's like the only reason I told y'all before I didn't watch the anime is because people saying the animation is bad. I ain't gonna lie. I'll usually get swayed, but then I was like, I kind of don't like that because I read some of the shit. I'm like, oh, the fights is kind of hard, and this is what it's coming out to. That kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But now hearing this, like, I'm not watching. I'm not reading this stuff into my full potential. I'm not. This dude just changed my whole mind on that shit.
What I would say to those people is if you don't like the animation, then maybe go and read the webcomic. I've heard amazing things while I was doing research for this video. So much so that it almost made me pick up the webcomic myself. But I stopped myself because season 2 is coming out on April 1st, I believe. And so I will be giving that a watch. I'm sure somebody in the comments by now has probably typed, no, they changed so much from the webcomic. The webcomic is so much better.
Yeah, I heard.
You.
Yeah.
I'm a Tokyo Ghoul fan. Because all that matters to me is I get answers to the questions. Is he a monster? Is he fated to become King Gray again? And does he deserve love? Because let's be honest, if you're only being good out of fear, what happens when you aren't afraid anymore? But that's what I think. Do you think Arthur deserves redemption? Do you think he deserves love? Do you enjoy this series? Do you not enjoy this series? Let me know down in the comments below. I do reply to those. And if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button.
I got you, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I got you, bro. That was tough. Shout out to Michael. That was tough. I'm definitely gonna be checking out more of his shit from now on. But yeah, bro. What do y'all think, man? Do y'all think? First of all, has this changed your mind about the shit? Cause it has for me. Cause like I said before, I read some of the shit. I forgot what chapter I stopped, bro. I stopped like I don't even remember, bro. It was so long ago. But I think I'm like at least I gotta be at least like 80 some chapters in. But this dead ass making me want to pick it back up. So I dead ass might read it again. Damn, yo, this nigga really cooked, bro. Yo, make sure y'all go subscribe to this dude, man. And make sure y'all subscribe to me too, man. Come on. But we definitely gonna be checking more of this. This really changed my whole perspective about this shit. About watching anime, I mean. But this really he really opened my eyes with how Arthur character really is. So without further ado, man. We out.